G'day crew, Todd from ToXiC Garage Customs. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me. Beautiful sunny day here, nice breeze. It's been scorchingly hot lately. Look at that beard. Been scorchingly hot lately, so I'm welcoming this. So I've got a video for you. This is a bit of a mixed bag one because I've been doing lots of different things. I've been doing some work around the house and I've been doing some family stuff, birthday stuff for people, all sorts of stuff going on. So what you're going to find in this video is that it's not just about one car. I think, what do? I touch on the Datsun, I touch on Sam's GMC, and I do some other stuff. I do something on ToXiC and a bit of other stuff. I go to a car show, I go to a swap meet. I've got a friend drop around. So this is a real mixed bag. So I don't know, it's probably a little bit different to my normal videos, which are, I guess, generally focused on one thing, maybe two things. This is a little bit of a life, a day in the life or a week in the life of ToXiC Garage Customs. So hopefully you enjoy it. I'll catch you at the end, and please let me know if there's anything in particular you like to see, or you like some more content of a particular style, and I will see what I can do to help you. Catch you at the end. But don't forget, grab yourself an adult beverage or a nice coffee, put your feet up and enjoy. Plymouth, what was it, Plymouth Fury 426 cross ram. It's very nice, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, mate. How can you not love a car like that? Her stick shift, 4-speed, bench seat, beautiful. This thing's very nice as well. 32, 5-window, triples. Love it. How can you not like old cars? Couple of likely looking guys over here. What are you riff-raff up to?
Hello mate, just checking out. Over here, coffee and cars.
Yeah.
Going up derelicts.
Nice.
Always a good view.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. When you guys are around, it's a good view.
Yeah, thank you mate, that's right.
Just talking to the owner of this car here, this is a genuine chicken shed find. When he found it, it had an inch of chicken poo all over the top of it. 6-cylinder, C4 auto, 4-wheel drums. It had been in the shed for a couple of decades from what I can understand. The guy wouldn't part with it, and then he found him at a weak moment and managed to pick it up. Pretty cool. No, I'm not there. Look at this guy. 6 Stromies. Beautiful. Chevy Nomad, the surfing wagon. Tidy looking beast. Must be something wrong with this, it's got some wine in the motor. Look at this beast. Mark owns this one. That's his car. Here's a blue and white striped version of it.
Alright, that's what you're saying. Alright, see ya.
T-Bird. Nice 48 215 ute. Very bright. Looks alright. Look at that. It's pretty. I feel I'm being followed. Okay, well, my good friend Mark dropped in. And we've just been to Penno's Cafe at Tuggerah for coffee and cars, and then we went to Morisop Set Swapmate, which we bumped into a few people that we knew, including Mark's brother-in-law and my mate Tony, and Norm Stewart, and a couple other people. Well, this is Mark's XC 1977, Mark? 1977 XC Falcon hardtop, coupe, whatever you call them. Whatever I call it, he gets offended if I call it the wrong thing. I helped Mark roll this car out of a driveway years ago. It was a 6-cylinder auto at the time. It's now a 351 4-speed, 9-inch diff, 4-wheel disc brakes. It's not perfect, but it's right up Mark's alley. He loves it, and it's a bit of a beast. I've got to say, it attracts a lot of attention. And it's a good thing. So, it's a good thing, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it's a very good thing.
How long have you had this now? I remember we rolled it out of the driveway together from the Northern Beaches.
Yeah, I would say it's probably 13 years.
13 years. It's got to be longer than that, hasn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, it's your car. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to ask you a question and tell you you're wrong.
Well, it was only a guess, actually. Yeah. Maybe even longer.
Yeah, I reckon it's like 20 years, but anyway.
I wouldn't think it was that long.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's go halfway at 15 years.
Okay, halfway between 20 and 13 is 15, is it? Okay. Yeah. So this is it, anyway. So it's a pretty cool thing. 351, Cleveland, 4-speed, 9-inch diff, 4-wheel disc brakes, and LSD.
Yes.
Yep, I think I said that anyway. That's it, 1977. Thanks, Mark.
See you later.
And Mark also has an XY Falcon ute with a 351 4-speed and a 9-inch. And we might actually show that one day. Yep. Okay. Just doing a little bit more work on Sam's GMC because I can. The thing's been sitting for a while in the workshop after doing the bits of paint that we've done. Sam's put a bit of his interior in, and I've mentioned before that he'll probably replace the carpet and maybe get the seat done, but that's for later. He's just playing around with a wood grain steering wheel at the moment. It's got some wood grain on the trim, both internal and external, so that could look good. I've just been fitting the chrome strip, stainless strip, whatever it is, at the back here. And the roof we haven't painted, and I've mentioned that before, and we're not going to be doing it anytime soon. But what I am doing is giving it a good cut, and so with cutting compound, because it's got all sorts of stuff on it, and I think some of it is from us, and I'm not sure if all of it is, but I don't know if you can see closely here. I'll see if I can put some light on the subject. No, I can't. Yeah, some of the stuff on the car is from us and some of it was before us, but what you might be able to see here, if I got some light on there, well, there's all dust and stuff over there, but it's probably very hard to see. There's all sorts of really dirty marks on here. I'll try and pump a bit more light into there. If you look at the very left-hand shoulder of the roof there, it's had a bit of a clean, whereas the bit beside it hasn't. As I said, very hard to see. The pillar here has had a bit, not as much up there, and so on. So the point of it is that to make it all look better, I'm just going through and I'm cutting everything with cutting compound to get it as good as possible, and then we'll worry about polish. Someday, hopefully, it'll get painted, but until that time, stuff like this we'll clean up as best we can, and we'll probably just brush touch it. I suspect there's some rust that's going to need treating, but we can make it look a lot better than it does at the moment. Moving along in little bits and pieces. So also what I've been doing is trying to work out the best way to polish up some of this trim. So this is it. Sam wants to put it all back on, and I agree. I think it's characteristic of the car. It's got overspray from, some of it's probably from us, but most of it's from previous paint jobs. And there's sort of tarnishing on it. And I think this is like an anodized coating, so it's not just alloy or aluminium, and it's not just stainless, and it's not chrome. It's got like an anodized coating, and when you try and polish that, it only comes up so good. It cleans it. I think the anodizing is supposed to protect it so you don't have to polish it all the time. The problem is once it starts going bad, then it makes it hard to polish. I have spent quite a bit of time on this one. The black paint all needs doing, so don't be concerned about the rough edges on the paint and the sand through areas and so on. I've spent a lot of time on this with a variety of different polishes and a polishing wheel, and that's about as good as it's going to get, which I really like getting stuff to shine. So that's as good as it's going to get. It's going to be as good as it gets. But I think you can see up against the blue there, the blue looks good. It doesn't go here, it goes on the doors. But I think the shine will really come through, the shine that is on it, because it's up against that nice shiny dark blue paint. So I'm going to persist with that, as boring a job as it is. Really no fun whatsoever. And this thing's, well, I guess it hasn't got massive amounts of trim on it, but it's got enough. So it's got this piece, it's got little corner pieces and so on, and then it's got some wider strips that go on the doors. But it'll all make a big difference. Why am I doing it? I don't really know. But I am. I guess I'm just that kind of fella. So we'll keep going. I'm only a couple of minutes into it, and I was using the cutting compound and thought, look, this is taking too long, because any parts that I'd done before were just taking ages. So what I did, I got some 2000 wet and dry, and I'm using just some window cleaner because it was there, and spraying it on, and I'm just sanding it very lightly with 2000 wet and dry, and you can see the smear there. So if I wipe my hand across that, nothing comes off. What I think it is a lot of dust from grinding for the last couple of years, working on this thing, just collected on the surface there, and it's possibly burnt the paint a little bit, and it's possibly just really dirty. But this is the sort of stuff that's coming off. So literally all I'm doing is just spraying some window cleaner. I could probably use water. I've got a new piece of wet and dry here. So just spraying some of that on, giving it a fair bit actually, just to lubricate it. And just that is enough to free up the surface. I'm just rubbing this very, very lightly, barely touching it. And it's just freeing up that stuff off the top. And then when I wipe it off, I can see there's still some here because I've only done one rub through, but that's as long as that's taking so far. So give it a second sand. It's taking off pretty much no paint whatsoever. It is dulling the paint a little bit, but I'll be able to fix that with polish. And if you're concerned about the way I'm sanding, I'm really not sanding. It's more cleaning than it is sanding. So that's a win. This roof, while it's not going to look great, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep doing that. It hasn't got any polish on it yet. So I don't know if you can tell it's a little bit duller here. I haven't done that part that way. I've only cut that so far, so I'll go through and I'll sand that, and we will see how that looks. You might get an old car and just need to restore the paintwork enough to make it a driver, and you don't have to go crazy. That has made a dramatic difference just there. Feels smooth, feels rough. Okay, that's a win. Well, I reckon in anyone's language that's got to look better. So that's been sanded, cut a couple of times, polished a couple of times. So around the edges here, you probably can't see it, there's some dirtiness in the guttering there. There was a lot of silicon around there. I've cut some of it out and cleaned it up, and we'll have to go through, and I also put some rust converter in there. There's not actually a heap of rust in there, I'm surprised. But obviously it was, I don't know why they had the silicon there, whether it was leaking inside, which it shouldn't make a difference, whether they were trying to stop it from rusting, I really don't know. But I've taken a lot of it out, and I've put some rust converter, and we'll put something, carefully mask it and put some seam sealer or something there, and then just very carefully paint it just to clean it up. Once again, it's to get it so that it's a good driver. So I reckon that is looking pretty darn good. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about. So it's been rust converted. We'll touch it up. I think it's looking a lot better. There's a few hours work, but it means not having to paint the roof. Obviously we've got to do these bits. Means not having to paint the roof in the short term or the long term. So overall, pretty happy with it. The blue and the shiny bits should take your eye away from the somewhat lacking white bits. Well, I'm not going to try and tell anyone that the paint is beautiful, but all of the areas that showed rust before, I had sanded, they were scuffed up with a Scotch-Brite, and then I had put rust converter on it. Well, I've just gone through and brush touched it, about 4 or 5 coats in most spots, and a couple of little chips that were here and there and around the edges, across the back. So I've brush touched everything, including right the way across the top there, in the gutter, and down here. And as I said, this area around here, if you look closely, you can see it. It's not a perfect colour match. It was just a can. It was actually the only can of gloss white aerosol paint that I had. I figured anything was better than nothing, and it will protect it somewhat and stop it from rusting. Now, I reckon I can still clean up some more of this area with some cutting compound or something, and where some of this stuff had smeared through from previous. So I don't think it's too bad. There was a big chip out of there. You can certainly see it if you look closely, but from a distance, I think it just looks like a shiny white roof now. I think it's 1,000,000% better, and it cost a day's labour, I guess, is the way to look at it. So pretty happy with that. Got a couple of the trim items on. Sam's just painting the hinges for Clive so we can hang the doors. The doors have been done previously. Now, a couple of little scratches we need to touch up around the door jam, so whatever paint's left we'll use for that, just on a brush. So he etch primed these after sanding them, and now the etch prime is sanded with 320 grit, just going through and just in between painting, because I haven't got a mask on. Just 1 second please. So he's just given them a light mist in the first place, and then it's a really hot day today, so he'll come back in a couple of minutes and give another coat. Also on the bolts, thinned it down reasonably, so 20%, so that it flows out pretty well and won't have too much build up on the bolt heads. You may continue. Got all his PPE on, safety gear. Well, Sam's definitely kicking some goals now. Obviously got to put the chrome strips and mirror and stuff back on, but we've got the hinges, we've got the door. I reckon that is looking mighty fine. Pretty sure Sam's thinking the same thing. Perfect? Not. Really good? Absolutely. How could a young guy not be happy with that? Tell you what is a bummer though. We walked out here the other day and his windscreen just cracked for no reason. Got any ideas why? Because I haven't. And now we have two doors. Looking good. So that was those hinges that we painted up, obviously. Coming up well. So let's just have a look at the old mudguard and the old colours. So that's what we started with. And this guard, we've still got to fix all the rust in the back here and so on. So we've done nothing to the mudguards or the hood yet, bonnet. But that was the colours. That was supposed to be the same colour, but seriously there's about 5 different versions of the same colour on this car, and that's what we're going for. I like it personally. It's slightly darker and I like it without the white through the middle there. Very happy. When I went to Dubbo recently, Matt Rendell very kindly gave me some lenses for the bumper bar on ToXiC. And I don't have any of the light fitting or anything through here. I am going to make this my Parker's. What I'm going to do is just put some LEDs in from the back. All the wiring's set up. So I just need to fix the lenses. So what I've got, I could have used the original mounting points for the lights, but I figured I wouldn't for no reason other than this seemed easier. So there was those. That's where the lights mount. So if I ever get the right lights, I might be able to mount them in there. But all I've done is made up a plate, and that plate is going to sit across the front. So this is the plate, got riv nuts in it, and what I will be doing is sitting that in there like that. It'll just clamp, and then the actual lamp itself, or the lens itself, I should say, goes into those holes. So the lens will sit on this side of the lip, and that plate goes on the back side. Two screws or bolts go through there, just clamp it in place. It doesn't matter if it's waterproof, it doesn't really need to be sealed or anything, because as I said, I'll put LEDs and I'll just pop them through from the back, and there's a plate there somewhere. Or actually I might use those holes, just work out some way just to mount a single LED lens, a light globe in the back there, and then I've got my Parkers. The Parkers were in here. No, they weren't. Parkers used to be there, but I took that off. There was too many lights on the front. I'm going to be replacing these with some of those projector style globes at some point as well, and I'll have to sort out my indicators again. And look at that. Absolutely incredible, eh? Does look better. Just need the light. A couple more of those little finishing items that need to do. So I painted up that panel for the tailgate there. Got that lovely looking badge on there. And still got to get some latches for those. Got that door trim done. I need some mirrors. I've got some mirrors. I need to clean them up. So I've got nothing there. And I've got nothing there. I've got two of those. They're pretty putrid. Let's give it a clean up. I think I'll soak it with glass cleaner, give it a general clean, and then I'll put some polish on it. And I'm going to use this stuff. Why am I using this? Because this is what they had in the store last time. Like Autosol, but quite frankly, not as good. Well, that certainly looks better. A few little blemishes and things on it. A little bit of a blemish on the front there, but overall, I think that will look just fine on that. Well, as I've said before, it's the little things that make a difference. And yeah, what can I say? It's the little things that make a difference. So here we have an indicator, a guard mounted indicator. It's quite a nice looking little guard mounted indicator. On this side we also have a guard mounted indicator. But if you notice the difference, this one doesn't have a lens. And this fits under the category of unobtainium. I cannot find these anywhere. So what I am going to do, what I've already done, let's make a little template for the shape of it. But what I'm going to do is attempt to make something that at least does the job out of this. So I think I might try to use an edge here and then shape it out of that without the screw hole. The good thing is that it doesn't need to be removable, because what actually happens with these, to change the globe, which is just there, you undo a wing nut from the back and the whole back of the light comes off and you can change the globe. And at the same time, the front can come off. So I'm going to undo this, take it out and work on this lens. And then, so what I don't, because I'm probably going to have to glue it in, is the point of that, so that it won't be removable. And as I said, the globe comes out from the back, so unless it gets broken, that shouldn't be a problem. And if it gets broken, well, that's a different problem altogether anyway. Let's do this. And this is what I mean. So it's just that wing nut there, you undo that, whole thing pops out, releases the part that holds the globe and everything on the back, and then I've got this. Changed my mind on how I'm going to cut this out. I'm actually just going to cut it out from a section like that. I'll make it a bit oversized, and the reason being is it's got this tall lip on it. If I tried to use the edge, I think it might just be more work than is necessary. So I'm going to cut this out a bit bigger than I require. It's got a crack in it there, isn't it? Might try the other side, I think. Yeah, I might have to move over to the other side because there's a crack in it there, which I've only just noticed, so no doubt it'll break right at the end of the process. So I'll move it over to the other side and then I'll cut it out. Well, that was possibly one of the easiest things I've ever had to repair. So I'm just going to glue that in there and I will consider that job done. That was something that, I'm not kidding, some of the lights that I've seen for Datsuns, not this one because I haven't been able to find this, been a couple $100. So to be able to do that for free, I think this was like an old Hilux front bumper bar light or something. I don't even know where I got it from, to be honest. Doesn't really matter. Could be a trailer light. Whatever it was free. Excellent. Let's put that together. I thought I had some clear silicone, some plumber's silicone to glue that in, which I didn't. So I used Araldite. The reason I wanted to use the silicone was so that it was a watertight seal. The Araldite, I put a really good coating of it on there, so I'm sure that there won't be any leaks. So I've just got that sitting there with a bit of weight on it. This is meant to be 5-minute Araldite, so probably takes about 3 days to set. What does it say? Do not swallow. Okay, I don't think I could swallow that anyway. It's a bit big. It's almost the size of my hand. Apparently 5 minutes. I don't know. I'm going to go and have some dinner anyway, so I'm going to leave that, and that's the job done. Just saved myself $300. Even got the Araldite for free. Can't complain. How good is it, eh? And look at this. I can repair some other lights. I'm not a hoarder, but Well, the radiator never leaked when it was in the car before. It didn't have any signs of leaking or any dirty marks on it or anything like that. So I'm satisfied that it's good. But what I am going to do, I'm going to get a garden hose and put it in the inlet and blow some water out of the outlet and yeah, let it go from there. Sorry, the inlet, and let it go out of the outlet. And yeah, just let it get a really good flush through. And then I'm going to give it a recondition with a can of black paint. Okay, so I've given that a good flush. I stuck the hose in the bottom, left the cap on, let the water squirt out the top. Then I stuck the hose in the top, left the cap on, let the water squirt out the bottom. Stuck the hose in the bottom, blocked that off, let the water come out there. Stuck the hose in there, block that off, let the water come out there. So trying to circulate water in every direction. And the idea here is trying to free up anything that might be in there. And it's this sort of muddy sort of stuff that comes out. And a lot of it is often on the top of the fins. So how your radiator works is that the hot water comes in through here, through the engine. So the water pump is pumping the water through, and so the system's under pressure. It comes in here when it's hot, heat rises. So as it cools down, air coming through the radiator and the fan blowing other air. As it cools down, the water comes down through the radiator, comes out through here. Then the water pump is down here and pumps it through the radiator, through the cooling system again. So you've got your top tank and your bottom tank, and then you've got all those cores through here. So the water actually runs through these lines here, these vertical lines, these crissy-crossy bits. It doesn't matter if they get a little bit damaged, because all they're actually doing is heat sinking, so allowing to catch the air to go through. It's these cores that do the cooling effect. So you don't have to worry if they get a bit bent or anything like that. This radiator's not in bad condition, but if you remember when I pulled the motor apart, there was a lot of this sort of junk all through the cooling system galleries and so on, in the head and in the block. So I suspect this radiator is probably not that old in the big scheme of things. I also suspect the car was overheating at some point, because I'm pretty sure that it had a mildly blown head gasket when I pulled it apart. And it also didn't have a thermostat in it. That's often a sign that someone's having overheating issues. I suspect that they've replaced the radiator, still didn't fix it, and part of it could have been the blown head gasket. Part of it could have been that all of the cooling system galleries were blocked up with this and it just wasn't flowing water enough, and it was getting hot spots in the engine and overheating. So any of that sort of thing, overheating on these old engines, it really, on any engine quite frankly, it doesn't do it any good. So you can blow a head gasket, you can warp the head and that sort of stuff. After all that, I'm actually happy that this radiator is good. As I said, I've never seen it leak. I think it's actually been recoated at some point in time, and I've now flushed it out. I've had a look inside it. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to give it a coat of paint. I'll blow it off, dry it off. Just got to give it a coat of paint. No prep, just black gloss paint over the top of what's there. It's just what happens. But when it comes to reassembling the car, new radiator cap, that's a must. New thermostat, that's a must. All new gaskets for the cooling system and so on. But all of these hoses, every cooling system hose will be replaced. So these are probably junked up inside, but if you listen carefully, you might be able to hear the crunching on those. They will just blow at some point in time. So for the sake of whatever it costs, $50, $100 for new hoses, it's not worth leaving them there. I'll probably, I was going to say replace the radiator hose clamps, but they're okay. That might be a bit silly. Let's give this in a coat of paint, and while I'm painting black paint, got to paint that as well. It's night time outside, by the way. Well, personally I reckon that's come up pretty well. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Job done. Tick. Well, as I said, it was a video, a mixed bag. It was a bag of lollies. So if you enjoyed what you saw here, then please let me know. If you really hated what you saw here, then don't bother telling me. Nah, tell me. I want to know. I need to know. But as I said, I'm doing lots of stuff around the place at the moment. I'm actually building a pergola, and I'm doing landscaping, and we've got animals and all sorts of stuff, and it's just been a bit of a busy time. So I've been squeezing in some car stuff. I'll always be doing that, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to find the time. So I hope that you got some enjoyment out of this. Let me know if there's something in particular that you would like to see. Let me know what you're working on. I've had a couple of people contact me, which is great. So I've got some people that have sent me pictures of their cars and had a bit of a chat about what they're doing. I'm thrilled about that, because this is what it's about. This is our therapy, boys and girls. This is good fun. We live for this stuff. So yeah, I'm always keen to know what you're working on, because you can see I've always got plenty of therapy to keep me going, I can assure you of that. Anyway, what I want you to do is go and pick up a tool, an angle grinder, a paintbrush, a circular saw, a welder, a spray gun, whatever it is. Go and do something. Be productive. Have some therapy. Keep yourself sane, or keep yourself insane, whatever works really. But whatever you do, be safe doing it and have a smile on your face. So until I see you next time, you stay safe. Go and work on something. Thanks.